Good morning, children. Welcome to sociology class. Today we'll be studying a new chapter, social processes. First of all, we shall understand the meaning of social processes, or what is a social process. Society is a system of action. The members of a society are always engaged in action. This means that they are always interacting with one another in some form or the other. Social processes are the different ways in which human beings interact with each other. We see that human society is made up of social relationships that exist among the members, such as relationship between parents and children, friends, teachers and students, employer and employee, and also between the enemies, etc. It can therefore be said that the fundamental ways in which people interact and establish relationships are called social processes. These social processes are mainly of two kinds, associative and dissociative. In associative processes, we generally include cooperation, accommodation, and assimilation. In dissociative processes, we include competition and conflict. According to our syllabus, we'll be studying three main processes, that are cooperation, competition, and conflict. Let us begin with cooperation. What is the meaning of cooperation and the definitions of cooperation? Cooperation is one of the most basic, pervasive and continuous social processes. It is the very basis of social existence. Cooperation generally means working together for the achievement of a common goal. The term cooperation is derived from the two Latin words co, meaning together, and operare means to work. Literally, cooperation means joint work or working together for common rewards or for achieving common goals. We shall discuss 2-3 definitions of cooperation. The first is given by Merrill and Eldridge. Cooperation is a form of social interaction wherein two or more persons work together to gain a common end or goal. Then second, given by A.W. Green, cooperation is the continuous and common endeavor of two or more persons to perform a task or to reach a goal that is commonly achieved. Then third definition given by Fairchild, cooperation is the process by which the individuals or groups combine their effort in a more or less organized way for the attainment of common objective. So we can say that cooperation is mutual working together for the attainment of a common goal. It implies a reward which is cherished by all for the wishes, needs and aspirations of other people. And generally we see that cooperation is unselfish. Cooperation may be found in groups as small As the dyad means the group of two persons, for example, husband and wife, and as large as the modern countries. People may cooperate for self-centered gain or for self-protection or to do good to others. One more thing is there, children, that cooperation requires sympathy and identification. We cannot have cooperation without the development of the feeling of sympathy. Sympathy depends upon the capacity of an individual to imagine himself in the place of another, particularly when the other person is in difficulties. Mutual aid is another name for cooperation. Cooperation is possible only when there is like-mindedness, similarity of purpose, mutual awareness, mutual understanding, mutual helpfulness and selfless attitude. So mainly we can say that cooperation is very much linked with the feeling of sympathy and identification. When we study cooperation, we see that there are mainly 5 kinds of cooperation which are found in almost all the societies. The first is direct cooperation, when the task is same and the people are working together. For example, playing together, worshipping together, tilling the field together, etc. Then second is indirect cooperation. Here the goal is same but the people work in different way. They perform their own task, and it is mainly based on the principle of division of labor. For example, farmers, spinners, weavers, dyers, tailors, they all are working on their own task but the goal is same. Then third is primary cooperation, and it is generally found in the primary groups, like it is found in family, neighborhood, friends group, play group, etc. Then next is secondary cooperation. This secondary cooperation is found mainly in the modern civilized societies, where we see the secondary groups. Each perform his task and thus helps others to perform their task so that they can separately enjoy the fruits of their cooperation. And generally it is found, this type of secondary cooperation is found in political, economic, religious, commercial, educational and other groups. And last type of cooperation is tertiary cooperation. This cooperation may be found between bigger groups. It may be found between 2 or more political parties, castes, tribes, religious groups and so on. And it is just for a time period. After that, this cooperation is nowhere. So there is always, we see there is a selfish motto for this tertiary cooperation. Now let us discuss some of the characteristics of cooperation. The first characteristic is cooperation is an associative process of social interaction which takes place between 2 or more individuals and groups. So it is always associative. Then we can see that this type means cooperation is always a conscious process in which individuals or groups have to work consciously. Then third feature is cooperation is a personal process in which individuals and groups personally meet and work together for a common objective. Fourth feature, cooperation is a continuous process and there is continuity in the collective efforts in cooperation. Fifth, cooperation is a universal process which is found in all groups, societies and nations. Sixth, cooperation is based upon two elements such as common goal and organized effort. And last, common ends can be better achieved by cooperation, and it is necessary for the progress of individual as well as society. So this was the first social process. Now the second social process is competition. What is meant by competition? Competition is the most fundamental form of social struggle. It is a natural result of the universal struggle for existence. It is based on the fact that all people can never satisfy all their desires. Competition takes place whenever there is an insufficient supply of things and human beings commonly desire. Whenever and wherever commodities which people want are available in a limited supply, there is always competition. Means demand is more and supply is less or limited, then always there is competition. Now let us discuss two definitions of competition. First, given by Byzantine. Competition is the striving of two or more persons for the same goal which is limited so that all cannot share. Second, by Horton and Hunt, competition is the struggle for possession of rewards which are limited in supply, goods, status, power, love, anything. So these are the two definitions of competition. Now let us discuss the nature and characteristics of competition. The first characteristic is scarcity as a condition of competition. Means competition occurs in a condition of scarcity where the things are limited and the wants are more, then it becomes a kind of struggle. The people compete with each other to get that supply. Then second characteristic is competition is continuous. Competition is found virtually in every area of social activity and social interaction. Particularly, competition for status, wealth, and fame is always present in almost all societies, and it continues. Then next is competition is universal. Modern civilized society is marked by the phenomenon of competition, and competition is covering almost all the areas of our social living. Business people compete for customers, lawyers for clients, doctors for patients, students for ranks or distinctions, athletes and sportsmen for trophies, political parties for power, young men and women for mates, and so on. So it is universal and it is found in almost all the societies. The next feature is competition is dynamic. It stimulates achievement and contributes to social change. It lifts the level of aspiration from lower level to a higher level. For example, a college student who competes with others to get selected to the college cricket team after becoming successful may later struggle to get selected to the university cricket team. So always the man tries to get a higher level. Next is competition is a main cause of social change. So we said that competition is a cause of social change in that it causes persons to adopt new forms of behavior. Then competition may be personal or impersonal. Competition may be constructive or destructive also. Then competition is always governed by norms. And competition may be unconscious.